one of the questions I got, I put it aside because it popped out as I was reading them online, and it was really cool from a really good installer, Seisman. I'll throw up his handle on his Instagram page. He asked me, how do I continually better myself, and name 15 books that I've read to help better myself as a person and educate myself for the further advancement of my character. Wow. For those people out there that think tile can be installed by trained monkeys, just remember there's people like this out there that are constantly working on the development of their own person. And I can't say enough. Anyway, so this blew me away. So I wrote down a few books. I don't have 15. I'm sure I've read much more than this. I know I've read much more than this in my life, but these stood out to me most. First of all, the first book was the Bible. That front to back, I've read the Bible. And for me, what I learned from the Bible is that in order to have faith in something, in order to believe in something, you need to stay resilient in educating yourself in and around that thing. So in other words, the Bible teaches you constantly to continue to read the Bible, stay in it, stay with that mindset, to create your mindset, to stay within it and live within it. And that is something that I learned from the Bible as a book, not as a religion, not as me trying to preach anything to anybody, but as a book. That's what I learned from the Bible. Second book was How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. This book was written years and years ago, a long time ago. And I think that although some parts of it are very difficult to apply to modern day and age, I read the book when I was like 12 and I highlighted it like front to back. I think I burned out 3 highlighters while I read this book. And it was crazy to me, the amount of ability you have on becoming a social person when you don't initially have that inside of you. If you're not that type of person, if you're not the character that jumps in the middle of the crowd and starts talking to everybody, this is a fantastic book for you to read because it teaches people how to be friendly and not be so insecure with other people. Richest Man in Babylon by George Clason. Again, another book that was written a long time ago. I like this book because it teaches you simple steps can change your entire life. So they talk about saving 10% of every dollar that you make. It's a very simple thing to do, but if one does that one thing, you just focus on that one thing, the results are much bigger than just the 10%. The other one is 2080 Principle by Richard Cook. Crazy book. I'm still trying to wrap my head around the ideal that 20% of what you do in a day reaps you 80% of the benefits that you receive. It's a wild book if you're really into thinking things through and understanding in depth the way that the world functions. 2080 Principle is crazy good. Nudge by Rich Thaler and Cass Sunstein. It's a good book on how to be passively persuasive. So when you're talking to people, how to help them come to their own realizations. And I don't mean that in a manipulative way. I mean that in a way that you're bringing value to them. So if somebody has a question for you and you answer that question directly and tell them what they need to do, well, then that's a little more aggressive or very direct. The other way of looking at it is if you answer their question with another question, a question that inspires insight, for them to be insightful to themselves and for them to understand their own existence a little bit better. That's what the book Nudge is all about. Profit First by Mike, I can't pronounce his name, Michalowicz, I think is the way he pronounces his name. Mike goes so deep into the structure of a business that after I read this book, I felt like I gave maybe 1% of myself to my company, and like I had miles and miles and mountains. Like I have Mount Everest in front of me in regards to the structure of my business. policies, processes. The guy's amazing and a very good speaker, by the way. So if you want to listen to his stuff, his seminars and stuff, they're fantastic. The E-Myth by Michael Gerber, same thing. Excellent public speaker. Talks really, really in depth processes and creating a system that is long term, and not only talking about how you need to create a process and a system, but actually breaking it down in a way that helped me really understand how to build a good, solid business. Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki. Obviously, a lot of people have heard about this book. It really just brings to light the ideals that that habits sometimes aren't just you generated. Like, you're not responsible always for the habits that you have developed over your childhood and into adult life, but that you're also empowered to change those habits too. So hereditarily, a lot of people who are born into poverty, or hereditarily a lot of people who are, born into a situation that's not great financially or monetarily, this book helps them realize that they don't have to let that define the rest of their life, and they can kind of change those things. Another book was Romeo and Juliet by William Shakespeare. Obviously, for me, that was huge. It really helped me dive into what people process and how they process things from an analytical perspective. I see the book as being something not necessarily just about love, but about people's ideal of sacrifice. And a lot of people say, oh, someone gave their life for somebody else. And I didn't look at that. I looked at it as a very selfish thing. I thought the both of them were being extremely selfish. And for me, that was important to realize, to not make those same mistakes throughout life. Not necessarily that you would end your life, but more along the lines of doing things with the ideal that you're helping other people, but you're not. You're doing them selfishly. So that was a good book for that. Hopefully I didn't ruin Romeo and Juliet for anybody. It was an amazing piece of work written by William Shakespeare. So Collected Poems by Tom Gunn. It's another one for me that I love artistic writing. I love the ideals of people and how they put down their words, and how they tie them all together, and their different perspectives. Hurry Up and Wait by Paul Watson. That's actually my dad. He wrote this book. Hurry Up and Wait for me was an incredible way for me to realize of when to run and when to slow down. So especially in tile, as you relate it to stuff that we do every day, unloading and loading the truck, you should be running. But when you place that piece of marble, you should be slowing down. So for me, Hurry Up and Wait was huge. Yeah, and that's my list of books. What's up, guys? Thanks for joining us on part 2 of Ask Me Anything. It obviously went really well, so we're going to do it again. Don't think you need me to ask you what you want to ask me before you ask me what you ask me. So anytime, I'm always open. Ask me anything, and I'll share with you whatever I know. We're going to do this again, and I'm pretty sure we're happy 2020 is over. Let's raise a cup to 2021.